Oh, okay.
Hello! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Synchronic Saturdays with Meghan and Crystal. And today we have a guest, ENFP Christine. Hello.
Yay.
How's it going, guys?
Going
good. Good. And I would just like to point out that I'm outnumbered today. There are 2 ENFPs, but I would like to point out that Crystal is a Capricorn and Christine is a Cancer. And so even though they're both ENFPs, you might be able to notice the sister sign differences. I've never seen you smile, Crystal.
What does that mean? You made me smile. Oh no, it's the energy that you only see me smile ironically or something.
Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I'm like, what is that?
Oh shit.
Well, in college, I was always sad, and so you would be frowning when you Anyway.
I don't have eyes anymore.
Totally different mood from last week's Synchronic Saturdays, if you saw, where Crystal and I attempted to discuss introverted feeling, but we ended up sort of demonstrating introverted feeling a bit and showing you how we sort of talk through our fights. If you have not been keeping up with the latest Synchronic Saturdays episodes, we are doing a series about high vibe and low vibe cognitive functions because we'd like to sort of demonstrate a total spectrum of how one cognitive function can seem. So today we are going to be talking about introverted feeling, but if you're unsure about what we mean by high vibe and low vibe, go watch that episode. So yeah, I'm mostly going to be interviewing these ENFPs, but before we start, I just wanted to say that no matter what introverted feeling is, no matter how healthy it is on the spectrum, if someone is using introverted feeling, they are going to be sort of nudging people to think about what matters, because even at the very best, the very worst, it's going to at least make you think about and assess what matters. And I also would like to point out that I think that the spectrum of introverted feeling is very similar to the spectrum of self-esteem. So that's just something to think about. But anyway, how's it going?
Hello.
On to you guys.
Good. I have a question, Meghan.
Yes.
So, if FI is focused on what matters, how would you contrast that with NI? Because I feel like NI can do a similar thing where it looks for significance, but I don't know if it's exactly the same way that FI does it.
So I haven't decided for each of the functions, but Crystal and I decided in the introverted thinking video that it always will make us, or will always cause us to assess what's true. And so, and I might seem similar, but if we're talking about both of the introverted functions, FI and TI, it's sort of like, introverted judging. And Crystal, did you want to answer that?
I think NI might see what's important, like it might see what's important in like a certain situation or like in a life theme way. But I think FI and TI are judging functions, so they're kind of used on they're used to like kind of assess inner criteria as kind of like almost like a results oriented process. Whereas I think that like maybe certain NI details stick out to you. Like it's kind of like you just have the lens on of this is important stuff. But FI, it's kind of like you just go through life and you react, and then you figure out if your reaction is based on what matters or what doesn't matter. So I think of it as more of a like, you're at a crossroads and you pick this kind of like with your actions or what you want to be doing. But NI is kind of almost like automatic, and that's maybe how the perceiving functions are.
To me, the word meaning comes up for NI more than matters.
Yeah, I think like meaningful and value or important, or I don't actually know how to like maybe slice them differently. I just feel like NI just sees what's important, FI assesses what's important. Like it's like trying to like use its brain as opposed to, and I just have to like overthink its perception. It just sees and just reacts. Like because like an NITI user is gonna like have different assessments than an FI user. And you could think the NI user shit is like irrelevant, but like FI and TI would explain its process or something.
Also, can you guys both try and speak up just a little bit more, especially try and project your voice? I'm sorry, I just don't.
Oh, you're fine. We have bad SEs, okay? Okay, there we go.
And would it be easier if you guys both took turns sharing your initial impressions, or what do you think?
I think so, because we can cut each other off probably because of NE. So let's take turns.
Okay.
or
wait,
like
impressions of what?
Is there anything just sort of at the top of your mind about FI after what I just said about the spectrum that you guys would like to share?
Oh.
Or do you want me to ask a question? Sorry, sometimes Crystal, okay, so I'm going to be trying my best to be mostly asking the question and listening in this video. And sorry if I suck at it, but something that really confuses me as a side note is that sometimes when I'm talking to you, Crystal, you'll say that you want me to ask questions and that you don't have something at the top of your head. And sometimes you do. It confuses me.
I think sometimes with TE, I don't know right away if I have something. And then when I start talking, I realize I do. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's like almost kind of a guess for me each time, what works or not. Like, it's like I have a TI idea of what's going to work. So maybe that's what you're...
Well, I want to know I want to do what's easiest for you. I don't want to jump in on the question if you guys both have something to say.
Okay. Christine, we're going to have to need to have the balls to speak up. How about that?
Okay.
So, okay. So I'm going to force... I'm just really basically...
Well, actually, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, which one of you wants to go first?
Christine, do you want me to go first, or?
I think
I'm the more talkative one between the two of us.
Yeah, I think
ENFPs. So I'm not sure if that would make you feel overshadowed, or if that would make you feel. Sorry, we're in real time talking ENFP stuff.
I think Crystal should go first.
Okay. So here's the question, Crystal.
Okay.
After hearing what we sort of, and Crystal and I talked about this yesterday to kind of come up with this simple definition, but what comes to mind as something that matters to you most about FI deciding what matters in the self-esteem? What were you feeling after hearing that said?
Well, I guess to reiterate, I feel like FI, it always thinks about what matters to it above all. Yesterday I was talking to you about how it disregards what the FE collective might value at all times, whether that's good or bad is subjective. But either way, you're always going against the grain in some way. For me, I guess in my best moments, I've been kind of a crusader for justice. I'll say the one thing that, when I was little, I was 3 in this University of Connecticut psych lab. And the one thing that all these psychology grad student researchers told my mom was that I was this little baby that if people were fighting over a toy, I would forcibly stand between them and be like, nah, stop fighting, or something, punch the guy that's bullying someone. And even in my life now, I feel like when I see something, someone talking shit on someone or doing something that I think is unsavory, no matter how close I am to the person who's perpetuating it, even if it's against a stranger, I will speak up, and I will just not be afraid to forget or disregard what other people are allowing it. I'm just dude, why are we letting this happen? Because I personally think it's against my value to bully other people or something. So that's a huge example of, I guess, high vibe FI trying to stand up for what's right, and then a lot of social justice kind of Rosa Parks on The Bus. She was the one that stood up for what's right when no other people were other people were letting themselves be walked on, but she was no, I subjectively am not okay with this.
So one thing about Rosa Parks, really quick, I brought this up to Crystal last night, and the reason why Rosa Parks came to mind as an example of high vibe FI is because it was extreme self-love and extreme setting boundaries. So, and I know I've seen that she's typed online as an ISFJ. I don't know what her type is, and I don't really care. She could be an FJ. To me, she seems like she's using FI, but either she's an FJ or not, whatever her type is, I think that action was high vibe FI because it was going against what everyone was valuing, and it was valuing herself and having the self-love and the self-esteem to take a stand, and that affects the world in a TE way by having
it sets a new TE precedent, new boundary. Now you have to assess, well, why am I bullying these people? Like, well, where do I stand on this? You know, like me using FI to be like, stop bullies, they have to think about why they're doing it, and they have to think about they want to continue doing it either way.
Yes, and compared to Martin Luther King, who was preaching with FE, hey guys, we should care about this, we should care about this, which is just a different way.
Yeah, so that's like the best of FI, but even low vibe FI, it's still like, it still values itself, but like maybe not like loves itself. Like it's still like, I'm gonna do what's best for me. So like, for example, if I'm having a bad day and I have no energy to give to anyone, I'm not going to put myself through the act of trying to get energy just because it benefits the collective. If I feel like shit, it's once again based on what I value in the collective. And sometimes it happens for high vibe FI, happens to align with maybe a way to progress society, or sometimes it happens to align with just me feeling sorry for myself and trying to feel better because I value myself even in spite of the fact that there's other people.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm maybe a little more extreme in that example, like where I'll really self-isolate and like really neglect my friends. I don't feel like, because I'm friends with Christine and you are too, Megan, I don't feel like Christine does that as much, but I think she understands the behavior. So I would love to hear your thoughts on like low and high vibe FI after hearing me ramble for a sec.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christine?
Pretty good. So yeah, I think like a lot of things you guys talked about, especially when it comes to social justice, FI users will stand up for causes that either directly affect them or they can view with TE and say that that's not right and try to put themselves in their shoes, especially with NPs. So I think that's how they approach social justice, but with FJs or NFJs, they are kind of looking at what needs to change, like with TI. And so I think FI and TI are the functions that like separate you from other people.
That's for sure. Like, I'm so individual.
Yeah, they're the they're the individualizing functions, because I think in regards to the video you made, was it a couple days ago? It was about separation. I think FI and TI are like SI and NI are also separating, but I don't think it's like a conscious thing. I think it's just like what you see, how you are, like your biology, stuff like that. But then FI and TI is the decision and the choice to individualize
like maybe
yourself.
Driving your actions and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you're not aware of it, like if you have blind spot, FI or TI, or if it's like just lower down, like you're still using it. It's so important to you.
So for you, do you kind of understand like the idea of like how the spectrum of FI specifically, like do you relate to being on like the I'm gonna stand up for what's right, and then like I don't have the energy, I can't do that, sorry folks, I'm checking out. Do you like relate to that kind of up down?
Yeah, I think for me it's related to SI too, because when it comes to what's important, there are certain things that I feel are worth standing up for, but you do need to manage your time and energy and realize that, you know, we're not infinite.
Even if someone else is like, yo, help, if you don't have the energy, you're just not going to.
I mean, it depends. Like, it really depends on the situation, but I think like people with strong FI, they will put a cause or a value like above themselves. And
that could be an example of high vibe FI putting causes above themselves.
Or the cause is I'm trying to feel better, so I'm putting that cause above.
Or they just like go ahead.
I was just gonna say that another thing I'd like to mention about FI that I've noticed about how empathy works that you guys can help me with is it seems like you guys like to build a bridge between you and either the cause of the person, like that. And I thought, Christine, when you said that for social justice a lot of times it directly affects them, I've noticed like arguments, for example, like, let's say you are white living in America and you don't have family that are immigrants. An example that would help you care about immigrants would be like saying, hey, we're immigrants too, or something. Like, they need to like build that bridge between them and you. It's almost like integrating it into your identity too, as opposed to just seeing, for example, my FE would just say, oh, that's wrong. Nobody should treat anyone that way. I don't need to directly connect it to me. And I also think that high vibe FI, when it does care for people, it requires a lot of energy because it's an introverted function. And for example, if I'm an FE user just sort of talking about, you know, something going on in the world, oh, that's wrong, whatever, I don't have to get my whole heart involved. Because
we're not like that. We have to get
to
our
me,
heart
it's just
involved.
self-evident. That's wrong. Don't do that. That's mean. And my TI is just sort of logically it's wrong in a way. But
I feel like FI users never think the right thing is self-evident. You know, like, I just feel like it doesn't stick out to us like that. Like, we go, well, I think it's right for me to stand up to bullies, even though the bullies might not care, whatever. Like, you know, like, we're not like self-evident. This is objectively what should happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, it seems obvious to us what needs to change. And I think like TI users have a similar thing, but like that's why it's
like what needs to change is like what we think.
Yeah.
One thing really quick, shout out to Michelle Wilson if you're watching this. I know I just said this in another video, but I watched a video from ENFP Michelle Wilson, and she mentioned that, and I don't know where she got this from, but I just keep wanting to steal it, that FE is self-evident, that's good or bad, and TE is self-evident, that's true. And so even though
oh my god, it's so true, yes.
And so the word self-evident just keeps ringing in my brain now, because it's like FE users, even though they do explain extrovertedly what's right or what's moral, it could be hard because it's sort of like, well, can't you see? It's evident.
So instinctual
and
you.
Same with TE. Like, sometimes when I like don't understand the TE you're coming from, like if you're helping me with something,
I'm like, it's so
question, and you're just like, just come on. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like for FI, I'm always like, wait, why is this right or wrong? And I'm like, let me go on a monologue right now. And like here, and like literally like 5 minutes later, it's like, okay, I think I get it. Like, okay, FI users, I feel like, because NFP specifically, we like spend our lives trying to connect all the facts of the world and empathize with literally every fact. If we didn't practice that, like, we'd be like kind of sociopathic, because like I think like for example the FI of like an STJ, even if they have their functions, they might be like, well, this doesn't affect me, and therefore because I can't relate immediately, that means like
it's not real.
It's not real. No one can.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, like, you know what I mean? You want to ramble about those fucking TJs. Because they do lack that. Like, you have to literally like consciously want to expand your brain to bridge the gap between how an issue might not immediately affect you to how it might affect you. You know what I mean, Christine?
Yeah, I think a big thing is, well, I've been thinking about how FI is connected to TE, because you guys were mentioning the high vibe examples of FI, and they all include a TE action or something like that. So I think it works best in tandem with TE. And when you're not either taking action or seeking out the proper facts or like evidence to support your FI views, then it's just like it kind of doesn't exist. I mean, like, I'm not saying that like to be, you know, shitty or something, like to deny people's reality, but it's like, I mean, if you wanted to help other people, in that case, it does have to have some like tangible thing or like something you can connect it to in the real world. If not, I mean, it's fine, you know, you can believe what you want, anybody can, but it's like, don't expect people to care, don't expect people to, you know, bow down to you, I think, when you are going against what everybody else believes, because like that can be really inconsiderate. It can be like, I don't know, I mean, that's not always the case. Like, it can be a good thing sometimes. Like, you can open people's eyes, and then maybe they'll start to see like, oh, we can create this. But in general, I think it's like you have to be aware of the reality, and like
Yeah,
the
because I
logic
think
behind it.
TJs don't seek out emotional facts to try and relate to things that, like, it takes them so much effort. And, like,
Yeah.
FPs have the advantage of being super friendly and, like, meeting so many people that even, like, you know, like, if I, like, even, like, having exposure to different emotional things to help you relate is good. Like, for example, I'm like, I can't relate to, like, being afraid for my life of, like, violence happening to me, but because I know someone who was affected by violence, therefore my FI can feel something. So it's kind of like the FI subjectiveness is I know someone who has gone through that, even if I myself can't, because I know
Yeah.
how they felt. I can imagine how I felt, and therefore I can imagine how you felt.
That's true. And I think also, since TJs prioritize efficiency and factual information, they're not going to look for FI examples. They're going to look for TE examples. And like, since we look for FI examples, we can like read a story or empathize with what someone has been through. And we always understand, I think, on some level that like people are doing the best they can, and they're every action they take or every like thing they do is just, it's understandable. Like, it's not, we're not like, oh, like, why would you do that? Like, that's ridiculous. It's like, oh, considering all the circumstances, if you were that exact person in those circumstances with their personality, their biology, whatever, I could see how that could happen.
Yeah, it's not always easy to relate to every single thing, but I think FI, at least, it's like willing to always try and bridge the gap in some way.
Yeah.
But I think high vibe FI does care
Well,
more
does
about
low
taking
vibe
action.
FI bridge the gap?
I think low vibe FI does bridge the gap, but it like kind of tunes out the ability to take action on it in its own way.
Because
So
what
like
I was theorizing as I was jotting down notes is that perhaps higher vibe FI has more bridges and is more connected to the all, and low vibe is sort of isolating itself. What do you think of that?
I think so. Yeah, that's true, Megan. And yeah, I think it comes back to the separation thing, where when you understand your individuality, you can connect with people better if they're accepting of that. If you're in an environment where people don't accept your differences, or if your differences are conflicting with society, or if they're dangerous for any reason, then it is isolating and it's not at its best potential. And so usually the case is like some belief or something got into that person, like in a TE way or in an SI way, that kind of messed them up. But if they are given the right environment, then yeah, they can really connect with people. They can be like, I don't know, innovators, or like just, I think, very like progressive people for society, because they're not considering the FE of the moment, like
yeah, it's all
completely.
based on your I think it's like all based on like your energy levels in a sense, almost. That,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
it's kind of like, I think low vibe FI just like play like the self-esteem thing. It just doesn't have the energy to try and consciously bridge those gaps, because like I said, it's all energy based, right? Like FI users having the willingness to keep making bridges between them and other people is what ends up, you know, like higher vibe FI is what manifests from that. But if you literally feel not accepted by the world, even if you're an SC user, I think, just if you have enough FI, if you don't feel accepted at all, in fact, like totally totally just like beat down by people in an FE sense, like FE doesn't, like, you don't feel like it approves of you, then that energy to create those gaps goes towards beating yourself and trying to refine your values and trying to, I guess, save your sense of esteem in that moment. So yeah, I would say it is accurate that FI users' ability to make bridges varies based on like their energy levels or how safe they feel. Because I certainly wouldn't, in that bully example, if the bullies were busy bullying me, I definitely wouldn't have energy, I think, to stand up for other people being bullied.
Yeah, I think low vibe FI, if they were bullied and they saw somebody else being bullied, then they would use that fact to then isolate themselves more and say, that's just how the world is. Life sucks. Nobody, like, there's nothing I could do.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think a big thing, when Crystal mentioned energy, there's a blockage. So I think also FI is always directly related to the amount of TE information you're getting. So if you can't get the right amount of information to fuel your FI, to like internalize it, then you will have an energy blockage. and you won't like have physical energy because you're literally not like being yourself.
Literally,
And yeah, it has like nothing to do with like, oh, how much you eat or exercise. It's just like there's like mental things that can cause you to feel tired or to feel like lethargic or unwilling to live. And I think a lot of it is just feeling like,
I've
yeah,
noticed
you don't
if you
belong
beat
in
yourself
society.
up, if you're like overthinking beating yourself up, it actually can make you more tired because you burn calories doing that.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's true.
yeah,
Wait, wow.
I'm just like,
Is that
What?
I'm just like, that's why I feel better now that I'm not in a stressful environment. I'm like, shit, he's right.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something I realized whenever I got my first like 9-to-5 job, because
Yeah.
I would be like, how come I'm more tired just from working from 9 to 5 when in college I used to work all the time? And then I realized like the pressure I put on myself from saying, oh, you have to do good or else you might lose your job and then you might die is so different from, oh, I should get a good grade. Because when you're in school, it's like, oh, you know, I can get a B on this, whatever. Like you don't have your safety completely attached.
Oh my god, yeah.
And so I would be like, man, why am I more tired now? And how come old people always talk about being tired? And then I was like, wait a minute, I think it's because of the mental energy and the stress that comes.
Oh, dude, okay, you're talking about TI beating himself up, but I realize that
FI does it too. Wait, sorry.
FI puts a lot of pressure on itself to be a good person.
Yeah.
Like literally we want like every relationship we have to be like one marked by authenticity and like not half-assing anything ever. And because we don't like half-assing, we always want to get super deep with people and like know their souls and like you know like how FI can be intense. If we burn out, it's like because we put so much pressure on ourselves to be the absolute best friend. Like absolute.
Yeah.
And then it's like if I don't have energy to be the best friend today and people are like surprised or just don't know what's going on because I'm not acting normal, I think that they still expect me to be that person. I can't right now. Then I get sad and then
well, I'm realizing that FI and TI low vibe both beats itself up. And another thing I'm noticing between low and high vibe is that low vibe is closed and high vibe is open.
Yeah, open, because high vibe FI gets more TE information because it's like, open, and then low vibe FI is like, no, I don't want more information.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm too full. My stomach is gonna explode.
Yeah, I think like also in the example of STJs who don't want to take in new information because their FI has decided like the TE standard is fine, what is fine. I think that's when it comes to
like the dog in hell flaring up. This is fine. Everything's fine. That's the fucking FI dog.
I know. I think it's like
I don't have TE at all because I don't ever think anything is fine. I don't ever accept the facts as they are.
Oh, well, you've always been like, TE is so lazy. And I'm like, well, there you go.
Well, whenever people say things like, that's just how it is, I want to roll my eyes.
That's such a TJ.
I want to roll my eyes and slap them in the face.
That.
I want to be like, well, it doesn't have to be how it is, okay?
Yeah, that's also a Capricorn phrase.
TJ Capricorn, God forbid.
What about the ENFP Capricorn? Are they that stuck in the mud?
When we're down, yeah.
No, because
that's just how it is.
I'm like, yeah, right. Shit.
Yeah. So I think another thing that's kind of interesting is like FI, when it's not like that, when they're saying, when they're like,
what is that?
Oh, okay. When FI is not accepting what is, they can really see the potential.
Yeah, well, maybe that's also NE too. But I think SE too. SFPs do things all the time.
Yeah.
And NFPs think things.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
As Carly would say, they only care about me in action.
Oh my God. No,
wait, what do you mean in action?
No, sorry.
Me and action.
No, Carly, our ENTP
Shout out Carly, yay!
Yeah, she's watching this is like, whoa, shit. Our ENTP friend Carly tweeted something once where it was like, man, it'd be easier if I was an ISFP. All they care about is me and action. And I'm like, that's so true. FI, me, SE, action. SE just does things all the time.
Yeah, they just want to fuck shit up.
SFPs are always like, let's go and do stuff.
So,
let's get
speaking of ISFP, my new friend, Madam Kid, who just made she just made a YouTube video, and it was talking as an ISFP. This is total side note,
I love ISFP.
but she just was saying that she was saying ISFPs aren't afraid of conflict. We just don't see the point. She was like, we don't see the point in talking about it. I'd rather go apply myself. She's like,
okay,
yeah.
SFPs are like this. This emoji.
Oh,
she literally talks about her literal Twitter bio, like, or something. And I'm like, no, Madame Kid's like she's making that kind of like
oh yeah.
Like, but also, yeah, I totally agree, because I don't think SE ever avoid conflict. It just applies like doing stuff in a different way.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. One other thing she said was that
I cry, and SFP's like,
one other thing she said though is that people always say that SPs are boring, but are they boring, or do they just not want to tell you?
No, we're boring.
Dude, I think we're so boring. We are like the SP like fan club.
Yeah.
Our dream is to just befriend all the SFPs. Like, because SFPs don't make me feel attacked at all. They'll see the overthinking root of our SI, and they'll be like, just go this direction. We'll be like,
yeah.
I can like go out in nature and bam, I'm fine. And,
No, it's true. So my roommate's an ESFP, and I'll just talk to her about like what's going on in my mind. She's like, you're getting in the way of yourself. Like, you're fighting against yourself. You're overthinking.
Wait, we should talk about how an SFP, I think, behaves a little differently than us. But
I just want to say too, shout out to Carly though. Like, it takes a strong like ENTP to even like have love for SFPs openly like that.
Oh my god!
I feel like I don't know any NTPs that are like. Well, I mean, I know that it's sort of a love-hate thing for her, but
dude, Carly is so. She like watches this one YouTube channel of our ISFP classmate from college, and like totally doesn't get any of the content, but still watches. And I'm like, damn, even I don't know if I would watch.
Yeah, I feel like
like, dang.
Carly really tried. Unlike other ENTPs, no offense. She really just.
Carly's high vibe, Carly.
Carly's extremely high vibe.
Yeah,
she's confused by me. But what were you gonna say about Carly?
I feel like she tries to understand other people's point of views a lot, which is like really and like also try to understand people's FI, which is unusual for NTPs sometimes. But yeah, I think when they do, like, they really tap into genius mode where they can like see solutions for people and like, I don't know.
Okay, here's a way to tie that. I realized that when FE users understand me as like your neighborhood friendly but also sometimes selfish ENFP, they don't like do an FI, oh my god, I relate to you so much like thing, the way I think FI users baby each other when we're trying to like understand each other and bridge the gap, because TI isn't trying to bridge the gap. It just cognitively gets with the FE, well, self-evident that Crystal is this way. Like, but they're not gonna like go to the effort to explain with FI and TE why they know that I'm that way. And so because I don't hear this long rant-winded justification, I don't assume they understand me because I'm looking for like an FITE explanation as opposed to.
It's possible to actually be understood in that way.
Yeah, well, I think only if you're like Christine.
Well, no, but like, there's been so many times, like with you, where I've said, "Oh yeah, I understand," but I never tried to prove that I do, and I think that you felt misunderstood. But
no, because I hypothesized perhaps I was misunderstood, but then I would go back in time to times when you had said that, and then later, just by living, proving it, I go, she probably understands. Like, but then it takes some effort to actually like accept that. Because over time, if you just even it all out, TIers really do understand how I am. They just don't feel like proving it, which I get jealous of. Because
they don't need to. Everything. They understand it cognitively, but they might not put the effort into actually feeling it and bridging that gap. And
because they so understand it, and it's like,
On that topic, I think one thing that kind of bothers FI users or can kind of block them is when FE users, or I guess just people in general, T users too, will say that, everybody goes through that, everybody handles this, like, like, not like suck it up, but
better. Yeah, because it's like,
it makes you feel better.
It's like ... So what are you concluding from this fact is what I want to know when they say that. Like, everyone goes through it. I'm like, does that mean you think I'll get through it?
I mean, I guess like
that. I think them say that.
You could, or you could not. It doesn't mean that you're gonna always get through it. But the reason why FE users say that is to help you get out of this low vibe, closed mindset, and help you connect and help you realize that the world's not out to get you. Because I feel like a low vibe FI thing is to have like self-pity and to think the world's out to get you. And like FE users say that to be like, hey, actually that's just part of the human experience.
Oh my God. Actually, no. You know what it makes me think of when someone says, oh, everyone goes through that? I'm like, then the world's out to get everyone. We're all fucked.
No.
No,
it just means it makes me think like, oh, if that happens to everyone, then perhaps there's a community of people who have gone through it who I can talk to and they can help me.
So you feel less alone.
Yeah. I feel less alone, but it also feels like the problem's solvable because wait, I'm not because like I think that you guys can like section yourself off and not realize that there are total books like dedicated to solving your exact problem, or like just open your mind and realize that you're not the first person who struggled with this. Perhaps there's some solutions out there.
Yeah, but see, I don't assume then that everyone's struggling with it, therefore someone out there has solved it. Like, I don't feel abundance about that. That's why I'm like, has someone figured this out then? Oh my God, I hope so.
It's never gonna be like solved, but like the fact is, if something is a human problem that we have been dealing with since the dawn of time, then there's a whole wealth of information that you can tap into. Is that TI or something?
This has become extremely NIFE suddenly, because we're like,
yeah. Like, okay, let's say, oh, I feel alone. Okay, well, what do other people do when they feel alone?
Well, other people aren't me. I don't know. I'm just like impersonating what an FI user would say to that, but also like that has helped me. It just, that advice repeats in my mind later on when I'm not like looking, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get what she means now, but I did not in the moment.
Do you know what it is? It's almost shattering a TI limiting belief that it's almost like making you realize, oh wait, all of this is a delusion, and that's why it helps me.
I think it depends. It really depends on the situation, because like sometimes
case by case.
Yeah, sometimes like you can see something in the world that everybody deals with and you're like, I fucking hate this. I seem to hate it more than other people, and it shouldn't be like this. Like, I don't know, for example, people who work, I don't know, like 12-hour days every single day, and they go home to escape their lives through drugs and alcohol. You could say, oh, everybody goes through that. Nobody likes their job. Everybody drinks from time to time. If you say like, oh, I don't want to drink, I want to enjoy my life, I want to enjoy my job, then people will be like, oh, that's ridiculous. I think that's like an example of something that like can change. But I guess
here's the difference is because I don't ever accept anything as they are. And so what my TI does is it ruminates. TI ruminates on it.
We don't always
like so it's never like, oh, everyone deals like that, that's just how it is. It's everyone deals
figure it out. Everyone deals with it. Everyone deals with it sounds like a version of that's just how it is. TI users, as opposed to TI users say that everyone deals with that. There's different options you can do to help out, as opposed to TE is like, just suck it up, man. Everyone
I think if a problem is a human problem, especially as a beta with NI and TI, it means that I'm going to be ruminating on it at all times. So
interesting. Wow. So like we're feeling and experiencing like our like subjective memory archives at all times, and NITI is just experiencing truth about the world at all times.
Well, yeah,
that makes sense.
Exhausting.
Something that I talk about.
So exhausting.
Something I talk about all the time with my INFJ girlfriend and also with my ENFJ friend Brenna. Something that I'm literally always talking about is the fact that the economy is changing and that workers aren't able to.
She's right.
I'm literally always talking about how the way that the economy works doesn't really fit with people's energy levels. And,
that is so true, yeah.
And that everyone is burnt out and that nobody feels motivated and that employers are starting to freak out because millennials are like more emotional in different ways and like not putting up with it and it harder to control. And you know, we seem to be a little bit wiser in all of this, and and just like it's this big problem where like it's like everything feels like right now like society is trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and everyone feels that way. It's like nobody has the energy to do the work that they're supposed to do to make money, and everyone's feeling called to do something else. And so those are the things that I think about like all the time.
Inspires TI, but FI would just like mope more and more from
Yeah.
facts.
I was
FI
gonna
like,
say,
no one knows what's going on. Yeah. But TI is out there like, hello, or like, boiling, are you gonna help? You know?
okay,
like,
yeah. So I think on that topic, FE and TE are standards set by the world. They're not like natural laws of the world, but they're stuff that everybody has agreed on. So now it exists. Now it's an
That's
SE
so
reality.
true. Yeah, that's just how it is. AKA humans have done this or something.
I like to
Yeah,
think
yeah.
have shared values or shared opinions in a way.
Yeah. Oh, this makes so much sense, because that's why it sometimes seems like NTJs have better SI than you, even though they don't, because it seems like
I know what you mean.
facts that have been agreed on and collective logically, but it doesn't mean they're usually literally using SI to go back in time. It's
Wait, I don't understand why you think that it seems like NTJs have better SI than me, unless you're just linking your SI with TE because that's how you use it, maybe?
Yeah, well, what I was trying to say is, like, when I talk to the two NJs, NFJs and NTJs, I don't feel like as confused by NTJs at times. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't notice their bad SI in the same way I notice an NFJ's bad SI for some reason. And so that used to confuse me, but now I realize I'm connecting it to how a TE user who uses TE like me, we just both agree on the facts that the society has established as the logical, like, status quo. And that may have been, like, in the past. So I guess it used to seem to me that NTJs just don't struggle with bad SI.
Okay,
I'm realizing I just link SI and TE so closely together. So yeah.
Yeah, so actually I can think of an example of this. So my ex, Brandon, if you're watching this, fuck you.
Brandon's name was Brando.
Brando.
Probably.
Just
no.
PSA, that everyone should try from Christine is just put no next to your ex's number. And
that didn't work though. You were texting Brando.
Sorry, anyway, just put no. Just erase your ex's number right now and put no.
Like, no, or dead.
Yeah, and so it's, he's an INTJ, and he always used to say, he, like, you can have your own beliefs, opinions, values, whatever, but at the end of the day, the world agrees to one standard, generally. Like, it kind of changes between states or nations or whatever, but in general, they have one standard. You have to meet deadlines. You have to, wake up at a certain time, eat 3 meals a day.
Capitalism.
Basically, makes me mad too.
It's also right. Like, that's not how it has to be, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's like as of now,
that's like they kind of think, I think, this is also, I think, a Capricorn thing too, where they're not trying to change the system the way like Aquarius or TI would. They want to game what exists. They want to win the game. Oh my God,
tell me! I feel so attacked right now.
like they're like, okay, I'm
gaming the system.
Yeah, I think, like,
right, Megan? Would you say I'm the kind of person that enjoys that? Like, I game the system.
I think FPs are really good at that. So how do you guys, is it okay if I tell you guys my realizations that I've realized about FI, sort of define it, and then ask you guys to share examples?
No, that's totally fine, because that's like TE. We can just generate those probably.
Okay,
so
probably
accurate. I trust you.
Okay, so what I'm noticing is that this is very connected to self-esteem, and it's because FI is very connected to if your emotional needs are met, and low vibe FI does not have its emotional needs met. And that is directly because it does not build the bridges with anyone else, and it has trouble empathizing with anyone else. And it completely.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes.
So can't empathize with anyone, and therefore doesn't think anyone can empathize with them. Therefore doesn't have their emotional needs met.
Yes, because we think it's a two-way street. We think it's an exchange. If I can't empathize with you, then you can't empathize with me.
Yes. And
okay, I have a theory about that.
Okay, can I just
No, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, sorry. No, you're totally fine. I just I'm gonna sort of dump and then let you guys take it away.
Go for it.
Okay,
and
well, I remember.
Okay, and so low vibe FI therefore does not feel safe because nobody is looking out for it. It's trying to look out for itself, but it also can't meet its own needs because it's so isolated and truth is that we are a very interconnected species. And so if you think about it, baby, like humans are one of the only species, like you literally can't get by on your own until you're like 18. And if you're a millennial, you can't get by on your own until you're 40. So literally, no, I'm just kidding. But,
oh my God, no, that's so true. Oh my
so,
God, Megan, this is actually profound the way you're rephrasing it, because maybe you don't, I'm like,
I need to
so
take notes
true.
more often.
Yeah, I'm just like, shit.
Because it's almost like I'm organizing all of your
Is
NE.
she like a TJ or something? Oh,
like,
my God.
I'm
She's
just,
like a TJ now.
I feel like I'm using SE to like, as opposed to interrupting, writing it down. Like, anyway. So, yeah, it's directly connected to how much information it has around, because FI and TE is connected. And so, low vibe FI accepts what is and doesn't question what is. High vibe FI does, high vibe FI is creative.
Now too.
It is the creative process. You can't, like, the creative process is questioning what is and pushing something else out there. And that's what high vibe FI does. So I would probably say it's more of a high vibe TE thing to directly question what is, but it's still correlated with high vibe FI. So high vibe FI has many bridges built. It's connected to all of human nature. Therefore, the cause and the value is above your own needs. And you can do that because you have high self-esteem and because your needs are already met. That's how Rosa Parks. Yeah, that's why Rosa Parks had the value of, justice or whatever, like integrity, like whatever your FI is. And that why high vibe FI will take a bullet for you, because they know that justice is more important than other things. And I literally think like FI can be the most empathetic function, even more than FE. FE probably won't take a bullet for you. To be honest, I don't think that I would take a bullet for anyone.
Logical, yeah.
I don't think I would take a
Not
bullet
even me.
I would do it in a way that wouldn't kill me, but might like impair me for like a bit or something. So
well, I'm so utilitarian. I'm so utilitarian where I'm just like, what's the difference if I died or you died? Let's just let the forces that be decide. Like,
I'm like, oh, I want to save them subjectively. So
if I would not expect anyone to take a bullet for me, and I would not take a bullet for anyone else. If something happened, it was an accident and it was meant to happen, I don't care. Like,
dude, now I have to take notes on Megan's notes now. Like what the fuck? Okay, keep going.
Okay, so high vibe FI will take a bullet for you because it's not about your needs anymore. It's about the principle. And I think that it's not a TI principle, but if TI is truth of what is true about the world, then FI is like what is real about human nature, what matters to human nature at a very deep level. And if love is the answer, then high vibe FI will take a bullet for you in the name of love, because love is that thing that they're then putting above themselves, and you wouldn't even know that was true unless it was connected to everything else. So yeah, closed is isolated, and also closed is self-pity. Nobody understands me because you aren't connected to that web of connection. And also the energy level is directly connected. So it's like self-pity and self-love on the other side. And so, and also high vibe FI gets what it wants. So that's another thing. Low vibe FI.
Wait, can you please explain that? Yeah.
Low vibe FI wants a boyfriend and cries about it. High vibe FI knows that it deserves a boyfriend, and so is out there like loving itself, and all the boys drool over them because it's like, whoa, I want a piece of that. I want some confidence. Like, give me a piece of that
in my life. God, yeah, it makes sense.
And I mean, just one more thing though about NFPs. Sorry, I'm sort of picking on you, Crystal, but something I've noticed about NFP is that you are not very consistent in your FI like dial. You guys are so segmented. You guys can have the highest vibe FI in career and the lowest vibe in love, and it just feels like all over the place. Like, or like money here. Like, you guys are just not consistent at all. Like, it shows up and down. Like,
it's so funny because like I feel like TI is kind of like segmented in a parallel way. So it's so funny that you notice FI is. Because TI is segmented based on what FE is close to or something. But I guess, yeah, I do see that FI is segmented.
Well, I was talking about NE a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess maybe this.
Well, I'm saying NFPs seem more segmented in that, and that's just my perspective.
Does that mean does that mean when SFPs have a bad day that their entire lives fall apart?
I think that SFPs would be more likely to have a general attitude toward all of life, and include love, career, everything.
That's
my dad. Ooh, yeah, so true.
Wait, okay. So I think what you're talking about, Megan, so since FI is connected to the self and it's connected to worth and feeling of the self, that's why like NFPs can seem all over the place, because we don't have a stable internal like
shit, she's right.
You know,
we
like
don't have a stable internal self.
I mean, I think INFPs do like more than we do. A lot.
Oh
like,
my God, yes.
If they're pretty healthy, you know, then they can do the things you were talking about, like championing certain causes and
my
you know
God, yeah.
But there's
like what?
I've never seen her smile.
Yeah, so I guess like TI is different because it doesn't really have to do with the self. It's more about like opinions. So I guess like when Crystal talks about TI users being segmented, I think sometimes, like to contrast, TI users can have opinions about things that they don't really know about, but they want to act like they do because they're like, oh, I can apply this system to another system. Yeah, but I think like in general, TI like FJs and TI users, they don't value the individual as much, so they're just focused on different like issues, and sometimes we can meet in the middle, especially like with NFs and you know the types of ideas they like to surround themselves with. But yeah, I think with FI, the principle is that like it cares about the self and the individual, and it understands when it's on a higher level that understanding the self is understanding everybody else, because although people have their individual like very specific problems at a certain point in time, like when they're alive or in this place, whatever, generally we do have similar life experiences that are significant and that do matter and that do value or that have value, and so yeah, that's basically it. Like when you understand that you are connected to everybody and like everybody's connected to you, that's when being alone or individualizing yourself is not painful, and when you can find like the right community and the right environment to thrive in, I think that's like kind of when it shifts. And like you said, when FI users have their needs met, they're not using FI as a coping mechanism to preserve themselves, they're using it to benefit other people. So yeah, and you need to do both. Like you can't trade one or the other, one for the other.
Yeah, I think because when FI is sad, it's so hard to take responsibility in a TI way for like collecting.
Yeah, because do you not feel connected then?
No.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, especially I think this kind of goes hand in hand with like criminals who are like, oh, the system screwed me over, I can steal, I can do whatever I want because they don't care about me, I have to care about me. I feel like that's kind of what FI is.
That's so true. Yeah, dude, honestly though, what you said about the inconsistent self-conceptualization though, it's so true. I think it's NI that is good at that, because like, or maybe SE, I think, because SJs I don't think struggle as much, but either way, so like it's like I'll be like, man, my life sucks, but then my NE will be like, actually no it doesn't, it only sucks in this one area, because in that area it's like fine, but like this area it's I assume there's different self. I told you about this once, like there's like a different self for each area of my life in my head, even though maybe externally, like, you know how like we once said that FJs are chameleons, or F users are chameleons who like mold to the person they're talking to, because Carly certainly said that she like kind of fits what the other person's FE is, and FI is like always the same enthusiastic archetype or whatever to everyone. Internally we're different though. Like internally I feel like I'm intellectual Crystal in this setting, or I'm weird ass like quirky Crystal in that one. Like they're all kind of connected but not really.
Yeah.
So like for me, I feel like that's why I can be like, okay, I just have all these different selves all the time anyway, and that self is good with this stuff, has abundance about this, that self has, like, you know, lack around this. So at any time, I'll just access that self. Like, I really relate to having multiple personalities. But,
yeah, and I feel like for me, and we'll talk about this more in another video, but I feel like this sort of has to do with SI versus NI, because like if you look at my life, and you guys both sort of know some of the patterns in my life, it's fascinating how I'm in a healthy relationship and my career is flourishing at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's always, I've either been doing good or not so good. Like
yeah, like everything will
know,
implode
like,
at once for you, or it's all or nothing. And like I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, we don't have like a stable vibration, but I think
that is a good way to put it.
But
yeah,
I think it's not necessarily a bad thing, because like I think a strength that NPs have is to be adaptable. And
we just access the part of us that is, and the part that doesn't feel it. Like, hey, come along.
yeah, and then I don't know, I feel like other types not so much. Like SPs, I mean, they are adaptable, but they're usually doing one thing. They're just going, they have like one goal. Like a lot of them do sports. Yeah.
As far as raising my vibration, I'm like inching closer day by day, like just raising higher. And
yeah,
are like bopping back and forth.
Yeah, I don't think once your vibration's at a certain point that you ever go back down as an energy.
No, I don't.
Like
I really don't.
I don't think
well,
that works.
I think we're not immune to it though, because like, yeah, we have an eye too, like subconsciously.
Or do you? Wait, sorry, were you talking about NJs or?
Oh yeah, she was talking about NJs.
I was talking about NJs. Okay. Are you talking about NE right now or NI?
Oh yeah, well, oh sorry, when I said we, I meant like NPs and like me and Crystal. Like, yeah, I think also like for me, when I have a realization, like when I just understand something, like the truth about the situation, I can't go back either. So it's like I don't think like even yeah, like even though we bounce around, like I think in general, like we still can integrate our lives in a way that's like a lot better, where it's like this area of life is satisfied by this other area and it's all like connected. Like I think that's how we really, you know, hone in on.
Yeah, like I feel like for example, now I can't ever wear eyeliner without eyeshadow. And Megan remembers Megan remembers a time when I would wear eyeliner without eyeshadow, and eventually she's had to tell me it looks weird. But like
but I asked her like, so I'm afraid of people thinking that this is mean.
Dude, no, it's fine. No one cares. Like, everyone knows the truth of our friendship, and my FI reaction to this.
I was just like,
let's hear it.
I was like, I don't understand why. Like, I was like, if you are trying to go for like trying to make your eyes look like less Asian, like not that it should be less Asian, but like, why are you doing that? And you thought that it was making them look like bigger. Mm-hmm. But they weren't.
See, I'm just like, after you said that, I was like, wait a minute, what is the point of makeup? Wait, I'm so confused.
And I'm just like, if you were gonna go for that look, like, why don't you put some eyeshadow on it to like at least like go all out, like, because
and then I was like, why don't I do that? I don't know. And you were like,
and I mean, I'm not even saying that it should be a beauty standard to look less Asian. Like, fuck that. But I like thought that that's what you were going for, and so I was like.
Oh my god!
Why are you going for that?
No, there's this. I could read so many books about like all the times. Oh my god! But anyway,
I feel bad even saying that because I feel like I'm a part of the system that.
No, you just want the facts, man. And
I just wanted to know your reasoning.
Yeah, but see, I didn't know, and I had to think about it, and then I integrated that I wanted to become someone who wore eyeshadow, and now I am someone who wears eyeshadow. See, this is a small scale variation of like, I can't go back now. My SI can't unsee that it looks weird without eyeshadow. Like, I'd much rather wear either no eyeliner or eyeshadow with eyeliner. And I actually attributed to the moment.
There was a phase for about 6 months, my senior year of high school, where I sometimes wore fake eyelashes at school, like.
Oh my god, what? She was one of those people.
I already have.
She's an ABG.
I just remembered this the other day. And I was like, why did I do that? And then I realized that it was because either like some girl backstage like at the play like was putting them on, and I was like,
oh yeah.
Excuse me. I don't understand this. You guys have like very like like the fake eyebrows, the fake already there lashes, and you still had to wear fake lashes, both of you? I'm so confused.
It was just to make it even bigger.
What? Dude, I've never worn fake lashes.
the same way
I need them more than either y'all.
I mean, I was turning pro as a boy, but like,
You can't serve Leo energy.
yeah, I also wore fake hair.
Oh my God. Christine and I can both agree, thank God that the brows are in and that they're still in, because
Yeah, they didn't used to be though.
they did not
Dude,
use to be. Like, we're going to be screwed in 10 years when the 2000s, like, skinny brows come back in.
I didn't do my brows today in case no one noticed. No one noticed. But Christine's like, oh, I didn't do my brows either. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, I even fill in my brows now. Can you believe it?
What?
You can't even tell.
I can't tell. No, I can tell sometimes because there'll be like more of a line. But like if you like made them darker, I could not tell you the difference.
Yeah, like
my SL will be like, I think she looks different. You know, I'll be like watching. Half the time I also watch Meghan's videos because I low-key want to see what her makeup looks like.
Oh my
yeah, it looked really nice in the last video.
Thank you.
I'm trying to get better SE. Like,
Okay, question actually for you guys. I have to pee, and I feel like I've been doing this a lot lately, like leaving and. But can
yeah,
you
no. And she watches the playback of me just rambling to no one in particular, and like,
I think she's. If you guys can both take turns, and try and not go on that long, but take turns thinking of an example of you using high vibe, an example of you using low vibe FI that you can share.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Get real personal.
Start. I'm gonna go
right.
pee. BRB.
All right, do you want to go first?
Okay, should I start with low or high?
Let's start with low.
Okay. Ooh, low vibe FI.
Yeah, I want emo Christine. Something we need to mention when Meghan's back though is that we don't use low vibe FI on each other or something.
Yeah.
Start with your story.
Yeah, okay. So, dang, I don't know. I have to think a little bit.
Or high vibe if that's easier.
Oh,
low vibe FI. Ooh, can I give an example of you and low vibe FI?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it doesn't bother me, which I'm trying to explain. But when Christine is overwhelmed, she'll take longer to respond to messages. Which, like I said, I know you know that I don't really care, but other people do or some shit, right?
Yeah.
She's better at it than me, I think, at responding to messages. But she's still not that great. Which I also have this behavior. And now, high vibe.
No, yeah, Crystal's really right. I think when I'm not in a good place, I really like defer responsibility, and people are counting on me for certain things, but it's really hard for me to just like do it. I just like I can't sometimes, like
sometimes you're like, you aren't worthy, like that voice is like
I know,
so subconscious and we can't hear it, so we're just like, I wonder why I don't want to do this.
Yeah, like earlier this year I was having some family issues, and so I was really upset for a while. And then I just like quit a job out of nowhere. It wasn't like a big job or anything, but I could see like how that could be super problematic to the people who were working there. I'm sorry if you're watching this. It was a really hard time for me, but you know, I had to go through it, and like I just physically could not get up. I could not go. I almost didn't go to this video today because I'm not used to waking up early, but I was like, you know what, they need me, so I'm gonna be here.
I was gonna say it's very upbeat. Like, I can't relate to that at all in the sense where like, I mean, I've felt that a few times, but normally my inner voice is like, they're counting on you. They're counting on you. What's wrong?
That like gives you some artificial energy. When people are counting on me, I'm like, oh,
like, yeah, it doesn't give me energy. Yeah, that's true. It takes away my energy.
The thing is,
people are counting on me. Ooh.
This is how FJs can actually be a little bit self-centered, because sometimes they really aren't counting on you that much. You know what I mean? Like,
not so much as you, Meghan. It's hilarious.
Like, sometimes you are that important. Sometimes you need to tell your EFJ, like, honey, sit down. You're not that important. Calm down. But, like, I think that that's what gives us the momentum to show up and take responsibility. But I think also, especially for me as a type 2, I get off of helping other people and being there for people and all of that.
Yeah, which is why I've been the ultimate strange friend combination, because I'm, like, not about that.
Oh, Crystal, I read the other day that type 2s are attracted to broken people who need their help.
I consider myself one of those people, though. Yes, I do not feel dragged. I feel seen for who I finally am.
why I like type.
That's unhealthy.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't feel like I am that way as much anymore, but I think in general that's why I like type 4s sort of, because you guys are so tormented. I just want to
you'll be like, what's wrong with you? And then be like, oh, come here. And I'll be like, you just said what's wrong. No, but while you're in the bathroom, because you said don't take too long, we took a long time. We only got through one of the two. Okay, but the example of low vibe FI applies to me too, where we just isolate when we're like sad, and we just go, no one loves us subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like, I would say we would use the example of not responding to people's messages and like just not responding, and like when we do respond, like half-assing it and then disappearing again. That is us in low vibe FI mode. For sure. And then high vibe FI mode is like, okay, your turn.
Yeah, I think high vibe FI would be like,
For you.
oh, you mean like an example?
They're like, share about you and a personal anecdote.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Type.
Okay.
Cancer. Wait, spotlight's on you.
Okay. I think. I guess like, yeah, it's just when I'm really passionate about something I'm doing, I really want to be there, and it's like the opposite. So, yeah, like there were a couple classes I took where I really liked. Like I took some painting classes where I just like to be there, so I would always like be on time and like do my best work. And like people started to expect that out of
into everything you do. That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so like
doing that, even though it
really?
might look like, even though Crystal, does that surprise you? I feel like it looks like I am that way, but okay. Anyway, so continue.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I think that's also why like the advice, do what you love, and follow your passion, that works really well for FI users, because we can be really productive and really efficient when we like what we're doing. And it doesn't work all the time. It's not always a perfect system, but I think like, yeah, in general, also with friendships and relationships, when I'm so when I'm in a relationship and I know the feeling has died, or like I'm just not really into the person for whatever reason, I can't be there. I can't be a great girlfriend.
So can't keep going through the motions.
Yeah, but when I really like someone, like I'll try to go above and beyond. And like with friendships too, sometimes like, yeah, other things take importance, but
I'm
in
the kind of
general,
person that will be like, I'll listen to all of your depressing thoughts if
Yeah.
I have the energy. I'll be like, let's get real deep into this, which sometimes F users don't actually literally want. They just want someone there. But FI
That's
users
true.
are like, this is crack. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I think Crystal's really good at that, because she's given me a lot of advice that really helps me like through things, and like got me to think a lot.
Multiple traumas.
Multiple traumas. I'm not like exaggerating. So yeah, I feel like, oh yeah, and she even like, when I visited California again, she drove like a very long way to see me, and I like so appreciate that, like I don't know, I just think we really
that is a good example of high vibe FI.
yeah, because
I flew to Meghan's Kansas City for Meghan's birthday, even though they ended the TI. That was high vibe FI.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It was high vibe FI. She was only here for like a day and a half, but it was just for my birthday. She didn't even get to do anything, really.
It's also so FE to be like, you could have done this too. I'm like, oh, I guess I could have.
And it's funny because our friend Carly, who's an ENTP, was like, why did she do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, she couldn't figure out why you did that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because
it's like,
it doesn't make sense. I mean,
it's like a leap of faith.
Like, my leap of faith is, even if Meghan and I get in a fight on this trip, I just want to make her feel so good on her birthday, and it'll be worth it to me, even if we did.
I think I'm bad at receiving the FI, like, showing that I'm grateful, because it makes me overwhelmed, because I never would have done that. Yeah, because I never would have done that, and so then I feel guilty. Like, even like when you visited me, I felt guilty wanting to make sure you like got your money's worth, that you had a good time, and like all of that.
Yeah, it's funny,
and it's hard for me to take.
If someone did that for me, I would be like, that's their FI choice.
Yeah.
Because for me, it comes to this point where, like, I'm doing it for me. Like, I'm doing it because I want to be authentically expressing the FI truth that you mean enough to me for me to do this. And I'm not even paying attention to if you received it or not. And I'll be like, oh, like, if someone points out that I did it, I'm like, oh, I forgot I did that. Like, I don't keep track of the FI things I've done for people. So then when people, like, say, I remember this one time you did this for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that. Like, it takes me so long to remember sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I had to rack my brain to be like, Well, I don't want to give the examples of high vibe FI things I've done for other people.
Speaking of high vibe FI, my ENTJ cousin just texted a group chat, and she was just like, "Cousin dinner soon. When are you free?" I feel like
I love ENTJ. Dude, wait, I don't think we have time to get into this, but one thing that I wanted us to go over was this concept, and I'm sure that you'll know what I'm talking about when I talk about it, but I don't feel low vibe, high vibe FI levels with people universally. Like, when I'm low vibe FI, I still have the ability to give in a high vibe FI sense, but I only can to, like, FPs. Like, I'm saying that, like,
wait, not me.
And you too. But I'm saying that, like, when push comes to shove, like, I'm in a low vibe FI place. If Christine, like, needs something, I found myself, like, having somehow the energy to, like, talk to her about what's going on with her, even if I don't have it for, like, virtually, like, anyone else.
That's so
FI
sweet.
users. And I wouldn't say this is just FI. I was thinking about this, where I think, like, I will respond to you too, but only if you have, like, true FI or something.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna
if you have
ask,
the
how
FI
do you measure when someone needs you then?
It's like a gut thing. I couldn't tell
Or is
you.
it just based on if your FI has built a bridge with that thing or not?
Okay, if my FI has built a bridge with you, it's easier for me to gauge what your FI needs could be. So, like, for me, what's an emergency for you will be totally different from what your FE thinks is an emergency for you.
Yes, oh my god, yeah.
Like, if you're like, oh, like, I'm sure if you think back, like, the times you've been really quiet and not thought you needed me,
yes,
I've suddenly come out of my hole and
and
just been like, yo, bitch, what's up?
you're not there when I, quote, need you.
Yeah,
and that's been my thing. That's been my thing with, like, most of my FP friends, is that I love them to death. And okay, I don't really feel this way now, but this is sort of a story I told myself, like, a while ago.
You had a lot of FP friends. I'm like, whoa, shit, she did.
Most of my friends have been FPs. Like, I mean,
she's had a lot.
2 of my best friends in high school were ESFPs, and my other best friend was an INFP. And then I had ENFP roommate. And then I had yeah,
that sucks.
ENFP roommates are not easy to live with. We are trash.
The problem was that she was an ENFP type 4 Leo moon. That was the problem.
No, she actually was. Like,
oh, okay.
She's talking about
wasn't even
a different bitch.
Wow.
This is a girl who's a singer. Okay, it's even worse.
Oh,
I'm like a writer.
Great.
All right, I get it.
Great. But then I also had an ISFP friend, and then I had another ENFP friend. I was in, like, a band with, like, an ENFP, ISFP, and another ENFP.
I forgot about that. 2020.
Yeah, like, I was in a band. Like 11:59. Yeah. But anyway, like, so I've had so many FP friends in my life. The point is that I always have viewed them as not being there when I need them, being there when they feel like it, and not being there when I need them. But every time I need them, it seems like they just only go. It seems like they like me when I'm having a good time, but when I'm not in a good mood, they don't like me anymore.
Yeah,
and I've always thought that was mean, because friendship is not about if you feel like being with the person or not. Like,
it's such an FE thing to say. Yeah,
oh, it's true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah. No, but
like, you don't get to pick and choose, like, if you're in the right, like, and I feel like I was abandoned by a lot of FP friends whenever I was going through a hard time, because I was no longer fun, and it really hurt, because then I was, like, really alone. But I think something about it, maybe it seemed like it wasn't a true FI pain, or like they at least couldn't understand where my pain was coming from. Maybe it was coming from TI.
I think both of those I think are valid. Yeah, go on.
But yeah, it makes me wonder, like, how FI know, or maybe that's a low vibe FI thing to, like.
Okay, but what I will say is, even when I'm in low vibe FI mode, if there's an FI need out there, I jump and I meet it. But it has to be like, it is like an FI need that I feel like I can meet, going back to what you're saying. Like, it's kind of like, I don't feel worthy when I'm in low vibe FI mode, because the world doesn't need me, but I might still think, but the world needs me for these specific things.
Wait, I have an example. The first time I met Crystal, I was actually with my ISFP friend, or she was with my ISFP friend that I was in a band with. And
College.
I was crying because of my loser boyfriend who
was an ENFP.
Who got mad at me. He got mad at me for something, and then we weren't gonna go to the sorority formal, and I already hated the sorority, and I was about to quit anyway. And if he wasn't going, then I was like, well, why am I even in this? Anyway, I was crying about it at Noodles and Company, and Crystal saw that need and then gave me a hug, and I'm like, who is this bitch? Like, I don't know her.
I mean, she sat down next to me, okay? She was like, hey, Farron. It's like, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, but anyway, she's like,
Danny was just like,
she was like, oh, are you okay? Give me a hug. But see, then we were with another FP that didn't react that way to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I feel like that was like high vibe, or I don't know.
High vibe and like low neutral. No, well, I mean, I feel like Danny, the ISFP, was probably also like annoyed or something. Like,
well, maybe if an FP sees the same problem happening all the time with a person, then they might not.
I think so. Like, I think that's true, but also, like, I'm the kind of person where even if it's the same problem, I'll try and look for the FI that must be there, because like, from my perspective, it is, like, annoying when an FE user especially has, like, TI spiraling, trying to justify things rather than just let themselves wallow, because FE users always tell me that it's when they wallow that I somehow reappear. Like, because, like, they identify FI as wallowing, and I'm like, no, that means you're ready to receive the help that I can give. Because I'm like, if I don't feel like you can receive my help because you're not in an FI mode, then I don't want to, like, even try, because I'm not going to be able to just FE stick around while you're, like, justifying it or something. And I don't think, Christine, like, do you relate to that? Like, I feel like you have more patience for, like, anyone, regardless of the situation, whereas I will only show up if your FI is willing to hear what I have to say or something.
Yeah, I guess, like, you kind of have to accept people where they're at, and
which I'm not good at.
I think, like, when someone's in a bad mood, if they're not, like, an FP, and they're trying to justify what happened, or, like, trying to beat themselves up or, like, blame themselves, they're not, like, getting the correct information they need. Because, I mean, emotions are information. Yeah. And they're not, like, thinking about, I mean, not really thinking, they're not just, like, feeling what they need to feel in order to get past it. Because it's like, you know, you can fix a problem afterwards, or you can, like, I don't know, like, go on with your life, but it's a reality that you're, like, sad or whatever, and, like, if you can't face that reality, if you're, like, so used to suppressing it, like, you need to get back in tune with that. So I don't know, I think, like, I understand that people are not, like, at that point all the time. Like, it doesn't, like, most people don't prioritize their emotions. They don't see, like, why it's important, but and also most people, also a lot of people, like, especially FE users, they take responsibility for other people, and they depend on other people, like, to bring them, like, good feelings, but FI users try to, like, seek that out for themselves. And so I think it's, like, a combination of both ultimately, but I think, like, a lot of people are not in tune with, like, seeking that out for themselves, so they need someone to help them get to that point.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm good at, like, taking responsibility for myself, for my emotions, but not responsibility for how I impact other people's emotions. And FE is, like, the opposite.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
I don't feel like you're willing to be in tune with your FI feelings because you're too busy trying to resist it to go FETI, that I just, like, don't have. I guess maybe you could say it's my low vibe FI reality that I don't feel like I'm able to handle people's FE in the day to day. Like, I don't think I'm able to be a good FE friend for the day to day. But what I do see constantly is, if you have an FI need and you have a trauma and you're suicidal, I will drop everything to help you because I'm good at dealing with intense emotions.
Crystal's the best person to call if you're about to commit suicide.
Honestly, though, like, my track record now is, like, in the last 6 months, I've had 5 people call me when their parents have cancer, quite literally, and, like, I've had, like, 3 people call me about, like, breakups that are shattering their soul. Like, people just
I feel like you can talk people off of a cliff. Is that the right metaphor?
I think so, yeah.
Like,
because I think
in a really good way.
I think I have high vibe FI about my FI needs being met by me. So I have high vibe FI about my meeting people's deepest subconscious FI needs. But if it's just like, I just had a bad day, my car got towed, I'm like, that's not your deep fucking need. I can't meet that because I don't live on this earth. I have like weird low vibe FI about living on this earth, high vibe FI about like accessing some spiritual truth for you to continue on living your life when something bad happens. So I just don't.
NFP thing.
I just feel like I will never not have energy for someone's trauma. I just thrive off of that. But everything else is like subjective. Trauma. Like Meghan, you resonate with this though, right? Like I think I get along better with FPs that are like super like they can't get themselves out. They're struggling, and then I will be like, ooh, let's cook this up because you've already done
I can't help them. I cannot help them.
See, I'm like, ooh, let's work on this and stuff. But I don't know how to be there for people. I like my ability to be there for people, just like going down the street and just like hanging out and being like not a drag because I'm not stuck in my feelings. That's a tall order for me when I'm like sad or something and in my, I guess, trauma FI state.
I'm good at not being a drag when I'm sad. Is that right?
Yeah, I feel like you'll at least rally yourself enough to go and like do something with people still. Versus I will like wallow like crazy and like not be here all the way or not even try really. But I feel like if I tried to be there all the way, I'd be able to. But I just am so unwilling because I so don't feel like I belong on this earth or something. And I think I almost feel like for me, if I started being more FE on this earth and with people in high vibe FI sense, I would lose my ability to take care of all the sad, depressed, suicidal people. And I almost feel like I would swap out and then I would not meet the needs the earth has for healers of this sort. Because I'm like, there's already enough people to like meet people's FE needs and to be there in the everyday. Meghan can just go cry to some other friend about her towed car or something. But I will be there when she's suicidal or something. Like I just feel like I guess I have lack where it's like either or. Like I can't be both or something. Like I think that's why I'm like so intense because I'm like, well, I'll come in handy when y'all need me and you're all sad and shit because this world is like imploding.
So I feel like Christine's better for day-to-day stuff.
Christine's way better. Christine, what do you think?
I don't know if this is like maybe this is a Capricorn Cancer thing even. Like you like have this intense need to be useful in a way.
Yeah, Christine, can you explain your thoughts on my very long monologue I just went into as an FI user?
Oh yeah.
Because Meghan's like, ooh, okay.
I don't know. I feel like the thing is for me, I think it's kind of like a Cancer Scorpio thing because Crystal's a Scorpio rising. But like I am really sensitive to when people are in like deep suffering, like if they're like suicidal, if they're going through something like very hard. I like feel kind of what they're feeling, and like just hearing them talk about it or like witnessing them in pain can be really hard. So
you're like sympathetic, you soak it up.
Yeah, I don't know, I just like feel it, and it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like I can help with that type of thing, but I don't know, I can't do it as much as Crystal probably because like it's just, I mean, I can if I don't fully invest in it. Like if I'm like able to see their problem like with TE and kind of like assess where they're at and be like, oh, maybe I've been here before to a lesser degree, or like maybe they're going through something I have been through to the same degree, then like I can help them out. But in general, like being in a crisis all the time, I think is it. Like my FI kind of wants to feel good too. I don't know. It's hard to like really know, I guess, because I think it's totally an individual thing. It's totally like what you have experienced and what you're used to.
I feel like Christine is able to like take on the feelings and like be with them more. So yeah, like kind of more FE. Like I just want someone to feel it with me right now. But I'm like, well, you're depressed, and if you suicide, the world's gonna lose out. So I need to like.
It could just be different areas of life that you guys feel high vibe FI for that maybe your astrology can
I think that
help with.
Yeah, because like
too, like. Because if you guys didn't know, Crystal's a type 4 and Christine's a type 7. So.
Yeah, I think Crystal goes like a lot deeper into that stuff. But for me, I like learning about things that can help me through, like like astrology or MBTI, like tools to help me get through that kind of thing. But I don't want to stay in it. I really want to like get out of it. I want to feel better. I want to like, help people feel better. And like if they're going through something, they're not ready to hear like how I got to that point. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna push them, like they have to go through it themselves.
See, I tend to like be able to logically use TE to explain to the person why they feel so sad, and kind of, I guess maybe part of it's like also just kind of channeling them. But then from there, once they know what the diagnosis is, then then we can work on a solution. I don't want to be a life coach though. Fuck. No.
I think I have like the last takeaway. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I want to hear your guys' final thoughts after that, is that FI, no matter how high vibe it is always assessing what matters. And if you are around an FI user or anyone who, even if they don't value FI, if they're using it at the time, it's going to sort of force you to assess what matters. So, for example, if you are with somebody who is like very low vibe FI, a criminal that thinks the world's out to get me, I'm going to hurt you or whatever, that is still going to have you assess what matters. For example, my car was stolen this year or last year. It made me realize, wait a minute, cars don't matter, family matters, you know, like no matter what, it's going to make everyone around just sort of think about what matters. And then if Rosa Parks refuses to stand up and loves herself in that way, or if someone takes a bullet for you because they love you, or like this high vibe sacrifice, and it doesn't have to be a sacrifice, but something showing their values above you,
yes, it does.
then that's going to demonstrate what matters and also cause you to assess what matters. And I'm paralleling this to how low vibe TI that is criticizing you in a very troll-like way versus high vibe TI that's questioning you is going to help you assess what's true. So that's my takeaway from FI. What do you guys?
Dude, oh my god.
Okay.
Wow.
Actually, that gave me a new thought, Megan. Okay, so the way the situations you described FI in seem to be in crisis mode. So I feel like it's something related to Scorpio and the 8th house, because when you lose everything, you have to decide what matters to you, because like you have no choice but to pick yourself back up.
Yeah,
and
like
so
we've all had experiences with death, all three of us, and I think that was really pivotal points for us to figure out what matters.
Oh yeah, and so like,
and when my
it's like
died, I have not been able to not put myself first in like ways that didn't happen before. And I know you guys have experienced the same thing. Like, I feel like catapulted into something.
It's kind of funny how we all, not funny, but it's interesting how all three of us can have the same FI about death quite literally in that way right now.
Yeah. And so, I think that's like an FI and I thing where it's like when there's something really like life-changing that happens, you have to like kind of scrap around. And I feel like Capricorn's going to do this too. Like, I think when you're in the wilderness, you need to survive. You have nothing but your survival kit, which who knows what it is. Like, you have a few tools.
Reminds me of Brene Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness, and she's an FI user, and that entire book talks about how to stand firm in your FI despite how crazy everything is. So definitely recommend that book. Anyway. Sorry, what were you saying?
Cool. No, yeah. I mean, that's basically it. Like, I mean, you got to do what's right for you. And I think like people think Capricorn seems selfish, or like ruthless, but I think, when you go through hard shit, you just have to like use FI in some way. You have to put aside what feels good for a little bit. And that's why I think like FI isn't directly related to like always wanting to feel good. It's a higher like moral code. It's like it has to do with ethics and like values that are larger than yourself when it's in a good state, you know. But when it's in a lower state, when your needs are not being met, then it does have to do with feeling good. But I think like crises just kind of change people's FI. And I think that's what changes them. That's what makes them recognize their value, and what they potentially could have in their lives, you know, if they were to follow their highest ideal.
Shit, I'm literally like so.
I think how people respond to crisis will show how high vibe their FI is.
Oh my god, that's the little thing I just wrote down.
Oh, like if you respond with like hatred and isolating yourself even more, or you can respond with like love and gratefulness. Or is there anything else you? Oh,
Nope.
Anything else you'd like to say, Crystal?
I'm gonna go on for too long because I could talk about this for like several videos.
Part 2.
No,
Yeah.
this is already part 2.
Part 3.
But I really want to I want to like think about this more because this also helps me with the spectrum for like the other functions.
Something else I was thinking though is when we continue these videos, we're going to talk about the spectrum of all of the functions. And then after that, I think what would be good is talking about self-help to how to get you to.
Yeah, I think so. Dude,
function.
I like have written down so many realizations that I can tell you more about.
You should start your own YouTube channel and talk about just FI whenever.
Ooh, you should.
You know what you should do, Crystal? Is something that I did to even jumpstart my YouTube channel is I did a 30-day challenge, just one video a day.
I guess I'm like, I have to care enough about doing it to do it, you know? Once again, we're back
Build
to
a bridge.
You can do it with tarot.
Oh,
yeah.
One last thing is like, I feel like if FI believes it can, then it can. And I'll try to be concise, but like basically what you're saying is like, when you're saying like FI assumes I can't empathize with you, therefore you can't empathize with me, but if it has abundance, like I can empathize with you, and then you can empathize with me. And I feel like FI can create its emotional reality so much. Like when you were writing these notes down, I was just like, it's so true. Like everyone always marvels at my ability to like literally be able to talk to and make friends with anyone, even the most closed off people. Like I've never been able to like relate to people that are like, oh, like they're just not my type of person. And I can like think about that subconsciously based on who I gravitate toward most in everyday conversation. But I always have abundance. Like there must be something we can relate on. There must be. And because I do not take no for an answer from the universe, I always end up being able to relate to people. And like, I'm just thinking about how that is truly FI creating its reality.
Yeah.
Like when I think the boy wouldn't like me, then the boy wouldn't like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I think if I can, like, if you can conceive of it, it can be true. As long as you're following, like the physical laws of the universe. I mean, you don't even have to do that. Like, you could,
like, you know, like I lost my job, as you know, but for once I don't feel lack like about getting myself off the ground, and I haven't even started really sending out apps, but I've already had like 10 opportunities pop out at me, and I already have like so many things that I want to do, but I don't feel like pressuring myself into doing them. It doesn't feel like straining. It feels like it's flowing, which is how I write too. Like when I write, I always feel for sure. Like with my FI, I always feel like I have something to say. And it always pours out immediately. I haven't had writer's block in years. So
to me, High Vibe FI is in the Black Mirror episode Hang the DJ when she puts her hand up against the thing and that's High Vibe FI.
Wait, when she puts her hand up against the thing?
And like Hang the DJ, whenever she knows that that's her soulmate and she is like, wait a minute, this is all a trap. And she believes.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of like, even if I were to die, it wouldn't matter because the love is the bigger truth.
Yes, definitely.
That's like what the Romantics believed.
Yeah.
They were like, kind of not humanist because they would just think, oh, my cause, like my love, like knowing that there's something bigger than me, I don't matter, you know?
Yeah, and like whenever I was a kid and I was standing up to bullies, I'd always have faith that I was supposed to be standing up to them, and it would work out. I'd befriend the other person, and their life would get better. Like the one, and I feel like anytime I am in that mode, things go well. But when I'm not in that mode for whatever reason, it's like I wouldn't even say things go badly. Then though, I just don't feel open. But even then, my life kind of keeps going because I think I have a base belief that I matter. And because I want to bring that to other people, it doesn't drain my energy when I help depressed people. Because I know what my value is and I know what my cause is. And if I help you or not, if it doesn't work, then so be it. But you are part of that cause. Because everyone's part of my cause, I guess. Yeah. Mother FI Earth.
Well, I think it would be great if us three did a video together again. Maybe have Christine on a Synchronic Saturdays and also get to know Christine because we are about to start our own.
They're going to pop off on their video show. You guys got to tune in.
Should we announce?
Oh.
Should we?
Christine.
You guys can just... There may or may
I guess we could, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, Christine and I are going to be starting our own podcast show.
Yeah, you are,
soon.
bitch.
That is going to be
Get hype. Get hype.
that is going to be more broad than cognitive functions. So
yeah, we're gonna be talking about the cosmos and shit.
we're gonna be talking about
Cosmos
emotions in general. It's gonna be the most NF thing you've ever seen.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we're gonna be talking about our fucking feels. We're gonna get into our feels every week.
I always think I'm talking about my feels, and I realize I'm not when I talk to Christine. I'm like, oh, she's actually embodying it.
It's
I'm
gonna
just
be
like,
and who better to talk about emotions and love than a Cancer with a Leo rising and a Leo with a Cancer rising.
I know, it's so
Oh yeah.
okay.
Anyway,
All right.
I'm
This
excited
video
for
is
that.
so
Thank you
Yeah,
so much
me
for joining
too.
us, Christine. And
Oh, thanks for having me.
have
It was
fun. Crystal is visiting Seattle. You guys are you also going to the festival thing, Christine?
No.
No, I'm just ditching to hang out with her.
Well, you guys have fun. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts. And have a good rest of your day. You guys have fun.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye, Megan.
Bye. Love you.